Hello, my name is Ryan Livers, and this is my classroom environment portfolio, basically a summarization of my classroom environment portfolio paper. The first thing we're going to talk about is management philosophy. There's 4 key points that I wanted to point out in my paper from this topic. First thing I wanted to point out is students learn best when they feel safe, respected, and supported. Now, with teachers, we have to make sure that a child feels safe and protected in our classroom. We also have to feel like they are supported in our classroom, because here's the thing that I learned as an EBD coach in middle school. These kids are fighting grown man, grown woman troubles every single day that we don't know about, because either we never ask or the kid never feels safe to open it up and tell us. I done had kids come up to me multiple times talking about, Coach Ryan, I need to talk to you. Coach Ryan, can I see you in class for 2 minutes? Coach Ryan, can I do this? Coach Ryan, can I do that? I am an open door teacher. I open my door to any kid. Reason why is because if they're not feeling loved or respected or safe at home, why would I make them feel like that at a school? The one place where they're supposed to feel that they're safe and respected. So it just comes with a lot of things as a teacher to be that positive role model. Number 2, daily greetings and morning meetings build emotional connection. Every morning in my classroom, I dap up my kids, no matter how I'm feeling, because it's not about how I feel. I could have the worst day possible, the worst morning possible, but I have to make sure that I am the best positive teacher when these kids come up to me in the morning. So every morning I dap my kids up. I have handshakes. I have, little friendly signals like, what's up? Like, how are you doing? But while doing that, I also make sure that I respect the kid and they respect me. So we don't go overboard. We don't do too much. We just keep it plain, simple. But plain and simple is meaningful, especially to these kids, because now these kids today in this generation, they want to see a teacher who can open up and relate to them. Not be best friends, not be buddies, but can relate to them. Can be like, okay, I can see Mr. Ryan, he's still maintaining his profession while also being, the chill teacher. That's what I look for. Number 3, inspired by Rita Pearson's and Vygotsky's scaffolding approach. I was inspired because that's the kind of teacher that I want to be. I want to be that kind of teacher that any kid can come up to and just and let all the stress away. Get rid of all the stress, all the worrying, the frustration, and just open up to them. That's the only thing that I want from a kid. And number 4, sorry about that. And number 4, positive structure and team-like classroom environment. My environment, I am a coach. I'm a football coach. So in my classroom, I make sure all my kids participate. If you're not participating in my classroom, that's a problem. I need you to feel safe and open up and welcome to the point where anything that you say, where ain't nobody gonna say nothing bad about you. And I know they're not, because I set those rules and regulations. I set those guidelines. Management strategies. I teach clear expectations with modeling and feedback. I make sure each assignment that my kid does, they have feedback. Kids need feedback to understand how they don't keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. Because if there's no feedback, they're gonna feel like they're doing it right, and the whole time it's wrong. And I don't ever want my child in my classroom, on the field, or anything like that, doing something wrong to where I'm not, giving you the right feedback that you need. Use PBIS and chance for proactive behavior management. This, I feel like it was a good example to use for, because it is important that you have behavior management in your classroom, because each child is different. You don't know how that child's gonna feel one day, and you don't know how another child's gonna feel another day. So it's always important to have that behavior management. Predictable routines, posted schedule, and student job. This helps you maintain that organizational skill. I always have my days planned. I have my lesson plans. I have my learning targets, my strategies, my assignments already pre-planned out throughout the whole entire week because I want to make sure that I'm not falling behind. Because if I'm falling behind, then my kids is falling behind. It's just one big cycle, and we cannot have that. Brain breaks and mindfulness supports focus. So this summer, I worked at a camp called Sowing Seeds with Faith. They made it very crucial and they made it very, very important that mindfulness is needed in the classroom. Sometimes kids need a little silent moment to themselves just to put their head down, read a book, draw, do something. I realize that because kids do get antsy. Your classroom is going to be wild. No classroom is perfect. It will never be. No classroom will never be perfect. But that's okay though, because you can always come back to that mindfulness, calm your classroom down, reset, and everybody will be straight. That's why I chose these 4 out of my next paragraph, because I felt like they were very important to me. Cultural response. Integrate student cultures into lessons and materials. Now, I worked at Butler as a world history teacher, and I always made sure to pinpoint every single race, because I'm not lying, when you're having a discussion about race, especially nowadays, it's uncomfortable for some students. So you have to make sure that you hit every single race in that classroom, because you never want to, and plus you never know what a kid knows by, talking about their race. There might be a student that can educate another student about their race. You just never know. Learn about students' languages, traditions, and strength. That was a huge, huge pinpoint when I worked as a world history teacher, because I had to make sure that kids understood there's different cultures, different backgrounds, and different traditions. Everybody got a different point. Like even in college, I knew a guy, he had to pray 7 times a day. And I never understood why until I learned about it. Include diverse texts and recognize Heritage Month. So there has been a few times where I printed out different scripts, different scribes in different languages, and I had my kids really break it down and understand, like, what do they mean by this? Use some context clues. What do they mean by this part? What do they mean by that part? They all have to understand everybody has a different language. Not everybody has the same language, and that's okay. We're not going to sit there and talk about them. Let's sit right there and learn from them. Because we may learn some things. I'm learning things from students about their cultural beliefs I never knew about. So that's a huge pinpoint for me. And then reflect on bias and provide equitable support. And the reason why I had this is because whenever you're talking about religion, like I said before, it's going to make kids uncomfortable. So you have to make sure that you are that main support system, to where you have to open up your door to their religion. I don't care what religion you are. It doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters is that you are, you're feeling yourself, you feel great about yourself, and you feel great about your culture. I never want a kid to ever question their own culture. Why? Because then that feels like bullying to me. It really does. Rules and procedure. Core rules. Be respectful, be responsible, and be ready to learn. That is my 3 main goals. You have to be respectful. You have to respect one another. If there's no respect, then there's no team. You have to be responsible. You have to be responsible as into holding your comments to yourself. You have to be respectful into whatever you think, just keep that to yourself. And then you have to be ready to learn. You can't be one of my students if you're not ready to learn. Teach and practice routines for all activities. So whenever there's a new activity, whenever there is a new plan, a new goal, or a new anything that we have to do, I always make sure that I'm following through with y'all step by step. I'm following with the class step by step. Roles for group work, and sentence starters to support collaboration. So when I do group work, I let the teams pick out a leader, and then I let them pick out a writer, a thinker, and an observer. Reason why is because I need to make sure that all my kids are engaged. I don't need 3 people working and somebody sitting in the back. I don't need 2 people working and 2 people sitting in the back. I don't need 1 person working and 3 people sitting in the back. So it's just like domino. I can't have just 1 player down while all my players is rising up. I can't have that. Praise positive behavior and use reflection for mistakes. So if a kid messes up, and this is my thing, if a kid messes up at any given point in time, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't care if you mess up, as long as you get it right. And I teach this in football as well. You can mess up 30 times that one day, and the kids will know my face will be with a smile. I'll have a smile on my face. And the reason why is because I don't care if you make a mistake. I don't care if you make 20 mistakes. We're gonna get this down right until you make it perfect. Some people don't believe in the word perfect. I do. Every time you mess up, that's like, okay, what'd you learn? Now let's fix it. Student engagement and motivation. Connect learning to students' interests in real life. So with world history, there was the part where it was about election and debates. So what I did was I had two sides of my classroom, and I had them do an election. But instead of doing, dealing with politics or anything like that, I did Instagram versus TikTok, steak versus pizza, McDonald's versus Wendy's, football versus basketball. I connected with the kids by letting them choose their own topics, because I want the kids to be able to have fun with all my assignments. Use varied instruction, mini lesson, groups, projects, and technology. You have to make sure that you're using all these things, because it is essential for kids to understand how to use these things. They have to be able to work with mini lessons, work in groups. They have to be able to completely success a group project, and they have to now be successful to work with technology, because in today's world, everything is through technology now. Formative assessments and goal setting driven growth. So each day for my kids, if one of my kids learns something new every day, that's good with me. That's fine with me, because I know I did something. I know I impacted a student. I may not impacted everybody, but I know I impacted one student. And with that one student that made an impact, it's gonna start spreading. It's gonna start spreading. It's gonna start growing. Once I go from one kid, I go to 3. Once I go to 3, I go to 7. And it's gonna grow and grow and grow. Celebrate progress with shout outs and call home. Anytime any one of my kids do great, regardless of anything, I don't even care if you came to school with your shirt tucked in. Oh, we're gonna celebrate. If you came with your shirt tucked in, untucked every single day, and then that one day you had your shirt tucked in, oh, y'all congratulate you. You have to make these kids feel like they're loved. You have to make sure that these kids feel like they are needed. You have to make sure that these kids are feeling good about themselves. If they're not feeling good about themselves, then they're not want to come to school for real. And then that's where you have skip classes, skip school. So you have to make sure all these things is built up as a teacher. Collaboration with families and community. Early welcome letter and phone calls to build trust. Now, with parents, I always make sure that you have my phone number, my email, and I'm open 24/7. Ongoing updates and invitations to classroom events. I make my parents feel welcome. So if you want to come see your child, you want to come see how they act, see how they perform in classroom, by all means, you can have a seat in the back, and I'm going to open my classroom to you. Partner with community organizations and guest speakers. I have brought in a few small business owners to come talk to my kids about what does it mean to run a business? How do you deal with money? How do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? So I always make sure that if I know somebody who's doing something, like if they work in the police force or anything like that, oh yeah, can you come talk to my kids for about 5 to 10 minutes? Cool. And family school unity supports student success. Please, 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 as a teacher, you have to make sure that your students and families are engaged with school activities, because you make what school is. You gotta make school fun. Because if you don't make it fun, it's gonna be boring to you. And that is all that I have for you.